So yeah, my name is Nathan Markulis. I am the head brewer and one of the co-founders here at Irrational Brewing Company. We're located on 124th Street here in Edmonton. Our building is extremely special, and our location is a heritage building. So we're located in substation 600, which used to be a substation for the streetcars, which used to run up and down 124th Street. So the name Irrational Brewing actually has sort of three meanings behind it. The first is a reference to my background. I'm not classically trained in brewing. I actually did my PhD in mathematical biology. So it's sort of an homage to my background in mathematics. Second, it is for the decision that we made to sort of quit my stable job in academia to open a brewery as well. It's not the most sane decision. And then third, it would be the styles and types of beers we make here. We like to use lots of different adjuncts and spices and teas and fruits and very unconventional brewing practices as well. So that's be the last reason. We opened up, it's been just over 2 years now. So we opened up in August 25th of 2021. So opening up was a very interesting process for us as well, because it was sort of right in the prime time of when COVID was happening as well. So we were trying to build out our space, get all our permitting done, get everything ready. And as we were building out, we didn't even know if we'd be able to have our tap room be open when we were ready. So that was a bit scary for us. But luckily we had a really good team behind us, and we got everything done in a timely manner. But it was definitely very challenging, because it's not like anything we've ever done before. The ownership team, none of us were business owners before or anything. We all have other jobs besides this. So it was kind of a very big learning experience for us in terms of, what's required, to run a business, managing people and employees and all that type of stuff. It's been fun, but challenging. I think we were very intelligent in that respect for zoning, because before we signed the lease for this location, we made sure that the landlord had the proper zoning for us already done. That was something that we were very adamant about, and saying that we're not even going to consider the space unless it's zoned properly for a brewery. Thankfully they took the lead on that, and they actually got done in a very, very fast time frame for us. So this space was rezoned for brewing, distilling, all that. For sure, yeah. So here we do lots of very off the wall beer. I'd like to say very non-traditional in a sense. So we're very well known for our pseudo lagers. So we call them pseudo lagers because they're not actually brewed with a traditional lager yeast. We actually use a Norwegian farmhouse strain and ferment under very specific conditions to obtain the same profile you would get from a classical lager strain. But the benefit of this is that it's a 2-week turnaround time for us to produce that beer, whereas using a traditional lagering method, it would be minimum of 6 weeks up to a couple of months before a beer would be released. And as a small brewery, tank space is very important for us, so that's sort of also one of the reasons behind why we chose to do that. Yeah, so we're also known for making our saisons. We do lots of fun, funky saisons here. Probably one of our most popular is our pineapple peppercorn saison. So that came about. We ended up doing a collab with Long Roof Brewing about 2 years ago, and we both made a same base saison recipe, but fermented with a different yeast. And the way that our beer turned out, it tasted just like pineapple and peppercorn, and we really enjoyed that profile. So we thought, well, what can we do to make it better? Well, let's add pineapple and peppercorn to the beer. So we kind of amped that up. And it's extremely dry, refreshing, a little bit tart from the pineapple, but also has lots of esters and phenolics from the yeast profile. So it's personally one of my favorite beers, and I believe everybody should drink more saisons. It's a very underrated style. Yeah, another one of our really popular beers right now is it's called Kuroshi. So it's a mango sencha rice pseudo lager. So it's a pretty big long name. So there's a lot that goes into it. So first, it's a rice lager, so we use a decent amount of rice in the mash to give it a really dry, light body and flavor to the beer. Then we also use a mango sencha tea, that we get from Acquired Tea company that's just on 124th Street here. And the tea we find just really brightens up the profile. It gives it just a slight fruitiness, but also a little bit of herbal quality in the background. And we ferment that beer with our Norwegian farmhouse yeast that makes it the pseudo lager. And that just is extremely clean, crisp, dry. And I think, in my mind, it's one of the perfect patio beers to drink. It's very low in alcohol, very light, but still refreshing. So it kind of hits all the boxes for that. So yeah, so probably about 95% of our malt that we get is locally grown and malted here in Alberta. In particular, we use a lot of Red Shed malt and Hogarth malt, and we really enjoy their products. Yeah, hops. Yeah, so hops are a little bit more challenging. So we contract hops through a couple of different suppliers in order to get what we want here. So we do a lot of hop forward hazy IPAs here as well. So hop quality and a consistency with the product of hops we receive is very important for us. So yes, we contract hops from New Zealand, from the States, from Canada, in order to get what we want. But it's challenging as a small brewery. The hop industry is interesting because a lot of the very popular hops that all the breweries want are either under patent, so only certain farms could grow them. So there's sort of a proprietary nature to that. So a lot of those hops that you could really only get from a couple of suppliers. But for our Alberta hops, there are, I think the limitation there is they can only grow certain varieties, and also the volume that they produce. Right? So being a hop forward brewery and using a lot of hops, we require a lot, and having a small hop farm wouldn't even sustain like a brewery of ours. So I respect what they do, but I think it's also they're fighting an uphill battle themselves, which I hope they win, but it's challenging. So when we originally wrote our business plan for the brewery, and we always wanted to be very taproom focused. So we wanted to have, produce at least 90%, sell at least 90% of what we produce right here in this physical location, which is one of the reasons why we're located here in a very walkable neighborhood, very, aesthetic location is for that. We never really anticipated distributing a lot. We always knew we'd do a little bit, but sort of our mentality was we always wanted to stay small, remain small, and just sort of be here for the community around us. In particular, we really wanted to have people come in and enjoy this space because it is a very unique space. And so that was always our number one priority. Well, we always were going to can, but it's just even now, like we don't can that much at all. Like it's very limited, and only a couple places get our cans because they're very hard to come by. Like we said, 90% of what we do is probably going into kegs, and then maybe 10% is going into cans. So we're in a couple of places, but like I said, it is still very limited with our size and what we can produce here. But we're in a couple of places that we really enjoy, and I think it really benefits us that we can sort of determine where we want to be and in what restaurants and other retailers we want to be a part of, where we don't just have to throw our product out there and say, please take it. So we get to be a little bit selective, which is nice. The equipment in the back is a 6 hectoliter electric brew house from Specific Mechanical. The reason why we went with electric over gas or steam powered brew house is we really wanted to pay respect to the substation here. It being an electrical building, we thought that would make sense for us. And also on our small scale, electrical brew houses are very, very efficient as well. So for those two reasons, we went with an electrical system, and we love it. It works great. People over at Specific Mechanical do a wonderful job producing their equipment. It's best quality, made right here in Canada. Yeah, so the equipment, it was, we kept a really tight timeline when we were opening up. We were here every day working, making sure tasks were being finished when they're supposed to. And the equipment came in pretty last minute, just because we wanted to make sure we had everything sort of ready to go. So we had the flooring done, everything done. So all we really had to do was bring it in, set it into place, and then do the electrical and mechanical connections to get it all running. So so it was one of the last things. It was a very exciting day to see all the stainless steel come in, and also a very nerve-wracking day, moving all that stuff inside and just trying to be very careful with it. So there you go. So it's myself, and I have an assistant brewer now. So we just hired an assistant brewer a couple months ago, which is great. So it allows me to have a little bit more freedom and actually focus a little bit more on the business side of things rather than just staying in the back and brewing all the time. So we just, the reason why we got an assistant brewer is we just also doubled our production capacity in the back. So we got 2 more double batch tanks put in. So with that much brewing going on as well, that's something that I physically couldn't do by myself anyway. So we're very fortunate to be able to bring someone else on to help me out. Yeah, we like to collaborate with a lot of people. Yeah, we did. We have done collaborations with Long Roof, done collaborations with Odd Company. Every year, the Alberta Small Brewers Association puts on the Unity Brew, which is great. It's a good excuse for all of us to get together, just hang out for the day and brew a really good beer. So, love collaborating, and sort of the best part of collaborating is just to understand how other people approach brewing as well, because their equipment's different, their space is different, process is different. So, just being able to talk through that with other people is very helpful. Right. So Hot Pocket, it's we're still relatively new. We just sort of started this a couple months ago, but sort of the mentality behind the Hot Pocket is we're all very supportive of each other behind the scenes, but the public doesn't really see that. And so Hot Pocket is a great way where we can be supportive of other breweries that are local to us, and put on fun events that also get the community excited to come out to our spaces as well. So that was kind of our ideas. We wanted to say, well, what can we do to engage more with the community? Like, we already have them here. What can we do to sort of showcase what we do as this small group of breweries, and to also put on fun events that the community would enjoy. So it was, the branding, the original hop logo that was actually made by the wife of one of my friends. She was a designer named Charlotte Egerud. So she designed the original logo, and then a lot of the design of the space and so on and so forth. One of the other owners, my wife, Wafa, she does a lot of the design work, a lot of the social media work, and so she's really the one that's responsible for sort of taking it forward. And I have nothing. I think the great thing with our team, our ownership team, is we all sort of have our specific roles, and we all kind of stay in those lanes and really trust each other. So when it comes to brewing, I have a lot of freedom where I don't get questioned too much. Design, Wafa has a lot of freedom, and she's able to do what she really wants to do and sort of execute her vision. Same thing with like finance and stuff. Like our finance guy, he spends a lot of time saying, okay, yep, we can do this month, we can do this month, and we just trust him. So it's really difficult. Like we want to be affordable, but we also want to be fair as well. Like we do this for the passion. We're not doing this for the money. So for us, it's we really want to make it as affordable as possible, but still be able to run the business without sort of having that worry in the back of your mind, like, oh, are we going to make rent this month, or are we going to be able to pay staff and all that. So it's really hard to balance that, but I said, thankfully, we've done a good job since we've opened, and we've never really had to face too many of those issues. A lot of it that we see in terms of ups and downs would just be seasonality, right? Where in the summertime it's going to be a lot busier in the tap rooms. In the wintertime, you kind of have to sort of switch a little bit more, do a little bit more distribution, a little bit more canning. But beyond that seasonal fluctuation, it's pretty consistent for us. So we have our own menu here on site, which also allows us to bring in other outside alcohol. So we actually bring in wine from other places. We bring in cider from Core Values down in Canmore. So we can actually have options that are not just beer as well. Because we are a brewery, so we're beer focused, but we do understand that a lot of people They also like enjoying other beverages or even non-alcoholic options because we have families in here as well. So sort of having that variety was really important for us. Like I said, just in order that everybody could enjoy our space, regardless if you're a beer lover or not. So this year the Alberta Beer Awards just happened literally 2 days ago. And last year in 2022, we won New Brewery of the Year. So that was a really shocking, huge feat. That was our first competition we ever submitted any beers to, and we were just blown away with the recognition we received for our product. So it gave us a little chip on our shoulder, got us really excited and saying, hey, maybe what we're doing actually does make sense, and we kind of do know what we're talking about. So that was really great. And then this year we also took home an award this year as well for our mole stout. So I'm super stoked on that one because it's sort of one of my favorite beers as well. Yeah, so 124th Street it's a very interesting area. There's a ton of really good dining on the street. There's a lot of art galleries, things of that nature along here. Also, it's a very located between a lot of very walkable neighborhoods. So for us, when we opened our space, being in a neighborhood like that was super important. And so we kind of looked a couple of places around the city, but we really liked 124th Street because it was still up and coming, and there's still a lot of development that's going on here. And we also love this area as well personally. So that's kind of why we chose this area. And again, like with the galleries and things like that here, we tried to incorporate a lot of 124th Street into our space as well. For example, up in the substation room, we have local artists. Each wall is a different local artist. We allow them to come in, put up their artwork, and sell it. And we don't charge them anything. They get all the money for their art, and we just get cool art we get to hang on our wall. So it's a win-win for both of us. I think there's lots of little learning that always happens. Like with brewing, every bat, like I've been doing it here for over 2 years now, like learning the new system and everything. And every brew is just always learning. Like you're always trying to improve, always trying to make things better. So just having a really detailed set of notes that we write down, and we can go back and look and say, okay, what happened this time versus this next brew, write down sort of all those steps are important. But so I homebrewed for a very long time, over a decade. I also worked commercially in the brewing industry over a decade ago as well, but sort of stopped doing that, focused academia, and then ended up coming back to the industry. I'm actually originally from the States, so I worked down there. But then I came up to Edmonton for school, and then liked the neighborhood, liked the area, and said I kind of want to stay here. And then at that time when I moved up here, there wasn't a lot of craft breweries. So going from a place that was saturated with breweries and then to a place that's just sort of up and coming, that kind of gave us that little tick in the back of our head, like, hey, maybe this is a good idea. Maybe we should do this because it's very successful with other places, and there's no reason why Edmonton wouldn't be any different. Yeah, most of my family from Grand Rapids, Michigan. So Grand Rapids was named Beer City, USA, back when I lived there 2 years in a row. It's a very small town of, well, not small, but about 250,000 people. But just the brewery per capita there was obnoxious, and they were all wonderful breweries. So obviously, like, it all sort of happened back in 2014 when the laws changed, allowing craft breweries to actually be profitable. Before that, you would just lose money if you tried to open a craft brewery based on taxation laws and things. So I think Edmonton, I don't know. It's a hard question because I think it's just like with any city, like it's Edmonton's still growing, and it has and like we said, it's been less than 6 or 7 years probably since craft breweries have really had a chance to thrive in the city. So like I think it's still very much in its infancy, and there's I think a lot more to come, a lot more breweries to come. So.
Hey, I'm Darren McGowan. I'm the owner of Arcadia Brewing Co. I opened up this location here back in, fortunately, November 2020, right in the midst of COVID. Before that, I had my bar on 124th Street, Arcadia Bar, and I only poured Alberta beers. I did that basically since I opened. So when I opened that, I was just very passionate about supporting local businesses, especially local beer. I opened up that location right when the Alberta craft beer explosion just began. I planned on opening my own brewery over the years, and then yeah, unfortunately, I opened up. This location came about, and I was really excited to keep my brewery near where my other location was, and this building, being Irish and spending a lot of time over in Latvia and Liverpool, really resonated with me. And yeah, we opened up in November 2020. We closed in November 2020. Um, weren't open much of the first year, but we battled through. We have great customers. We first started with our Coliseum Blonde Ale and our Whistling Pig Hazy Pale Ale, which are our flagship beers. Um, and then from there, we released our Go Back to the West Coast IPA, our Rough Riders Road Dry Irish Stout, and our Love Iron Sour. Those have been our mainstays since we've opened. And then we have seasonal beers like our Heart of the Matter Hefeweizen. We've added our Dirty Pretty Pilsner to the main core lineup. We release small batch beers all the time. In our location, we do really, Arcadia is all about community. Not only do we try and give back to the community members and other services, we support local businesses like the Brewing Cake Man, Swix Pretzels, local beef jerky, local beer cheese. We have Batita's Calzones. So supporting local businesses is really important. Um, and as far as local ingredients, um, red shed malting, but for the most part, we do get our grains and barleys and wheats and other ingredients from outside of the province. But the best part is the collaborations we do work with in the Edmonton craft beer industry. You know, very supportive community. We stay in contact. We help each other out. People need ingredients. People need tank space. That is honestly one of the best things about owning a craft brewery in Edmonton is the support you get from the other businesses. Yeah, we had to pivot. It was a hard pivot. Yeah, we really had to then focus on outside manufacturing with contract breweries. That was not really in the plan beforehand, and then that became part of the plan, and that's not the easiest thing to do. Yeah, we're a small brewery. Our tank sizes are only so big, and we really had to pivot on there. So that's been a real um, difficult challenge that we're still trying to organize. We do most of our beers in houses, but a lot of the products you see in liquor stores, what they call Scene Blonde Ale and the Whistling Pig, and then go back to the West Coast IPA would be done out of house. Yeah, why we chose the size of equipment we do, and the big reason why we chose this location was in-house production, and only producing so much, and more or less just being a tap room. And then, yeah, COVID happened, and we realized that that was not going to be the case, especially with people going out, more businesses in the building, and just several reasons why we had to pivot. Arcadia comes from the band The Libertines, who talked about so essentially only a libertine, someone free of oppression, can sail the good ship of Albion. The good ship of Albion is the only way to get to Arcadia, and Arcadia is a place where true hearts and minds and melodies belong. Arcadia is a community, first and foremost. Um, that's why supporting those services like Boyle Street, Missile Center, and other organizations is so important to us. and supporting other local businesses like Batistas and such is a big reason of why Arcadia is Arcadia. So Arcadia, like I said, it's community, and for me personally, growing up, I went to hundreds and hundreds of games at the Edmonton Coliseum. It wasn't just about going to a hockey game or going to a concert. It was about going to a place where you felt part of the community. You ran the people sitting around you, the people you met up with every game. Even if you never met someone at the game, you would see that person always at a game. It was like its own community inside of Edmonton, and that's why it is so special. It was also a large bonding area for my dad and I. Yeah, these seats were available for auction. We got a bunch of them in here. We got our section signs where my dad and I sat, where we got our beer. It's such an Edmonton, Edmonton staple, and I just thought it was so great to have them in here so the Edmonton Coliseum could always live on. And then, yes, of course, when you come in here, you'll see a lot of local art. We have our Treaty 6 mural done by Mackenzie Brown. My friend Jeff from Jam Bottle Cap Art originally did that Joe Strummer piece. It's 4,000 beer caps for my old location. We've kept that. My friend Adrian Ludin has done a massive mural over our brewery. He did a mural about Kobe and Gigi Bryant. So local art is also a big part of the Arcadia idea and concept. Yeah, we're a member of the Hot Pocket. It's awesome. I really wanted to try for years to get something like that going. But there's really just a couple of us. And Polly Rhythm Brewing recently opened up just off of 142nd Street. And Chelsea's done an incredible job of getting us together. It's ourselves, Growlery, Irrational, Odd Company, Brewsters, and Campio. And we've just kind of started up here, I'm going to say June. And yeah, we're getting ideas going. And it's definitely built a nice, close relationship with all of the breweries here now. We opened up in the building was still being finished off. A lot of tenants backed out when COVID happened. So what was supposed to have been a more than half capacity, when we opened, we were down to just us. And then another business opened up and another one, but we had no hospitality partners until last fall. And then the winter, now you have Rhubarb Cafe and Cocktail, you have Ashford Club and Restaurants, you have Western Sandwich Co., you have Bell's Pretzel House. So it's been awesome now that it was more of a draw to come down here, especially after 6 p.m. And it's just a great, community to have more businesses down there, and hopefully more to come. A lot of sleepless nights on decisions that shouldn't have been made, Tough probably too many to list, honestly. But you know, we're here. I mean, like I said, the original plan was to be more or less a tap room. Thinking this building would be full of other businesses and people would be out and about checking out a new building. We never had any kind of big, gigantic grand opening where people were lining out the door. So, yeah, the larger production of trying to get offsite into place is not something, especially being a, you know, more or less a, single business owner. It's a lot of work. Eric is our second brewmaster. Eric's been here for going on 2 years now. Eric's absolutely fantastic. I let Eric do Eric's thing back there. You know, it's about freedom. You know, we obviously communicate and try and plan out things, but I'm more or less like love to give Eric his freedom back there, their freedom back there, and yeah, we communicate really well. But I'm obviously very busy trying to run a million other things every day, so I'm so happy and lucky to have Eric and I back there. In the back, we have a 4.5 hect brew system. We have 2 single fermenters and we have 2 double fermenters and 2 bright tanks. Obviously, a very small operation considering what all the other breweries have.
My name's Eric. I use they, them pronouns. I've been the head brewer at Arcadia for just over a year now, a year and 3 months. And I was drawn to Arcadia largely because of Darren's initiatives in the community and some of his politics and his desire to like make a community space that people actually want to be at. We aligned quite strongly on the desire to make full flavored beers at like lower alcohol volumes. I want to make beer that people can drink a couple of and have a good time. We have a very small operation here, very hands-on, very manual. And one of the things that I've learned in my time here really is just like an appreciation for the nitty-gritty and like the tiny details of things. And I think that comes out in the finished product. Yeah, I look forward to making lots more beers here. We got fun stuff coming down the pipes that I won't spoil, but yeah. This is the second brewery that I worked at. I did a year and a half, almost 2 years at Endeavor out in St. Albert under Matt. He taught me a whole lot of things. I'm very grateful for the time that I spent here, there, sorry. And this was my first crack at being in charge, being the head brewer. And it was definitely a learning curve. I kind of had to learn on the job, just as we were coming out of the worst part of the pandemic. But there was a lot of grace and our customers have responded. And I'm very happy to be here. I have a little bit of experience homebrewing. I homebrewed for about the same amount of time that I was the assistant at Endeavor with my best friend for many years, Alex, who is at Blend Enthusiasm now. And I got a lot of experience, obviously, being the assistant at Endeavor. But for here, we don't have a pilot system. Our main system is as big as some people's pilot systems are. So it was kind of jumping into the deep end, as it were.